They say weddings bring people together, and maybe that's true for everyone else. For me, weddings became reminders of what I'd lost, what I thought I'd have by now, and what I never truly did. But I wore my smile like armor that morning, the kind that fools cameras and mothers alike. After all, it was my sister Alina's wedding day. If there was ever a day to bury old wounds beneath silk and sparkle, this was it. The sun peeked through gauzy curtains as I buttoned up my pale gold lehenga, one that shimmered like soft fire when it caught the light. I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the earrings Alina had gifted me just a week before. "You'll look like royalty in these," she had said, squeezing my hands. I believed her. I always believed her. The house buzzed with life. Laughing aunties, clinking glasses, cousins running in every direction. It was the kind of chaos you only see in Indian weddings, beautiful, overwhelming, and somehow deeply nostalgic. If I closed my eyes, I could almost hear the echo of our childhoods in the walls. "Where's Sana?" someone called. "Right here," I said, stepping out of the guest room, smiling automatically. When I entered Alina's bridal suite, she was sitting in front of a large vanity, dressed in a breathtaking ivory and blush lehenga. Her hair was braided into an intricate bun, jeweled pins sparkling like stars. For a moment, I forgot everything. "She looked perfect, Sana," she gasped, turning to me. "You look beautiful. You look like a dream," I said, and meant it. The betrayal hadn't happened yet. At least not in my world. We laughed, took pictures, teased each other. For that brief window of time, it felt like old times, two sisters playing dress up, pretending to be queens. The ceremony itself was a blur of lights and fire rituals, sacred chants echoing while I stood beside her, handing her petals, adjusting her veil, keeping her hydrated. My role was second to none in importance today, maid of honor, emotional support system, and a silent cheerleader. Then came the reception. The ballroom transformed into a vision. Golden lights draped from the ceiling like fireflies, floral centerpieces bigger than most people's dreams, and music that pulsed through the floor. Alina and her groom, Rishon, danced slowly to a romantic Hindi ballad. Glasses clinked, cameras flashed, and guests swayed, drunk on celebration and champagne. I sat at our family table, sipping ginger ale, watching them dance. It should have hurt, but it didn't. Not yet. I'd trained myself to feel numb in moments like this. Besides, today wasn't about me, Auntie. I felt a small tug at my dress. I looked down and saw Ian, my 6-year-old nephew, Ree's son, looking up at me with furrowed brows. "What's up, sweetheart?" I asked, leaning toward him. "We need to go now." I frowned. "What do you mean, go where?" He glanced around like he was scared someone would hear him. Then he pointed to the table I was sitting at. "Under there," he whispered. At first, I thought he was playing some game. Hide and seek, maybe. He loved doing that at parties, but his tone was serious. Something in his eyes made me curious. Maybe even uneasy. I bent down and lifted the cream-colored tablecloth. My breath caught in my throat. In the dim glow of fairy lights filtering through the sheer fabric, I saw two shadows huddled close together. At first, it didn't register. Then their faces became clear. Arav and Alina. She was laughing softly, her hand pressed to his chest. He leaned in too close. She wore the same smile I had seen her give Rishon just an hour ago, but this time it was for him. "My ex-fiancé, her sister's ex-fiancé." I froze, heart pounding in my ears. Ian whispered again, "See, they're hiding." I gently lowered the fabric back down, shielding the scene from the rest of the world. Inside me, something cracked. For a moment, the noise of the wedding disappeared. The music, the laughter, the speeches, they all faded into static. I looked around the ballroom, at people I loved, at family I thought I could trust. How long How long had this been going on? Arav, who ghosted me after a cold, unexplained breakup. Elena, who held me through the heartbreak, cried with me, told me he didn't deserve me. I had thanked her for being my rock. I had believed she hurt for me, but she was hiding under a table with the man who shattered me. I stood up slowly, brushing the creases from my lehenga like I could brush away the betrayal. Ian, I said quietly, "Let's go get some cake." He nodded, unaware of the grenade he just set off in my life. As we walked away, I looked over my shoulder one last time. They were still under the table, still laughing, and they didn't know yet that I had seen, but they would. Oh, they would. The weight of 1,000 questions sat on my chest as I walked Ian toward the dessert table. He talked excitedly about chocolate mousse and mango pudding. His little hand wrapped around my fingers, grounding me in the present moment, but my mind had already splintered into 100 shards. Behind me, under the velvet, draped table, my sister, the bride, was entangled in a secret with my ex-fiancé. I wanted to turn around, to drag them both out by the collar, to scream over the music and bring the whole wedding to a standstill. But I didn't, not yet. The truth had punched a hole through my chest, but the anger hadn't arrived yet. Not fully. What came first was silence, cold, dizzying silence. "Auntie, you okay?" Ian asked between bites of cake. I forced a smile. "Yeah, baby, just a little tired." He accepted it, as children do, sensing more but saying less. I kissed the top of his head, turned him over to his mother, and slipped out onto the balcony alone. The cool evening air hit my face, but it wasn't refreshing. It burned, like ice over an open wound. I leaned against the railing, the sounds of the wedding muffled behind glass. All I could hear was my own breathing, shaky, uneven. My mind pulled me backwards like a cruel movie reel, Elena and me under a blanket as kids, sharing secrets and giggling. Her painting my nails before my first date with Arav, crying into her lap after Arav disappeared, and her stroking my hair, whispering, "You're going to be okay." She was the one who told me to block him. She told me I deserved someone better, someone who wouldn't vanish like a coward. But behind all that comfort was this. I had been hugging a dagger for months, and I didn't even feel it going in. I don't know how long I stayed out there, maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour, long enough for the music to change, for the dancing to pick up again. I heard someone call my name faintly through the glass. I didn't respond. When I finally re-entered the hall, my smile was back in place. I found a chair at the far edge of the venue where no one would notice me. I watched Elena as she floated through the crowd, radiant in her bridal glow. Her laugh was musical, her movements delicate. She was playing the role of a happy bride flawlessly. You'd never know what was hiding under that tablecloth underneath all that lace and lie. She spotted me from across the room and waved. I waved back, because that's what betrayal looks like sometimes. It's not loud or chaotic. It's dressed in silk, wearing your earrings, smiling at you like nothing happened. Later that night, after the guests had left, I stood in the empty bridal suite, helping Elena out of her jewelry. She sat in front of the mirror, humming softly, her face still glowing. "You were amazing today," she said. "Thank you for everything." I stared at her in the mirror, of course. I replied. My voice didn't shake. She turned to hug me, but I stepped back slightly and pretended to be fixing the veil. That moment, that pause, it should have cracked her mask, but it didn't. She thought she got away with it. I left early the next morning, telling everyone I had work. The truth was, I couldn't breathe in that house another minute. The drive home was quiet, just me, the road, and a storm inside my chest. I replayed every memory of Arav, every moment where things started to feel wrong, the unanswered texts, the cancelled dates, the vague excuses, all those times I defended him to my friends, to myself, even to her. I remembered the night he broke up with me via a one-line message. I'm not in the right place to be with you. I hope you find someone who truly deserves you." It had taken me months to recover from that, and now, knowing that the whole time he was sneaking behind my back with my own sister, it made the pain come alive again. But this time it had a name, Alina. Over the next few weeks, I stayed quiet. I didn't confront her. I didn't call Arav. I didn't cry in public. That part of me, the version that begged for explanations, was gone. Instead, I watched, I waited. The truth wasn't going to sit still forever. Eventually, it needed to breathe. I remembered a quote I once read, "Sometimes karma doesn't hit like thunder. Sometimes it whispers, and when it whispers, it ruins quietly." I wasn't going to explode. No, I was going to let the whisper do the damage. Revenge doesn't always look like fire and fury. Sometimes it looks like silence, like restraint, like walking away when every bone in your body begs to stay and burn everything to the ground.